Is it Arsenal's title, Alex?
I think it will be. I think it will be. I've mentioned, I think something isn't right at Manchester City. I think the fact they've allowed Cancelo to go on loan, one of their best players last season, I think is an illustration of that. Listen, if they don't win it this season, I don't think they'll get a better opportunity when you look at the fact that Chelsea are in transition, Manchester United.
I'm going to stop him here. Firstly, people are now coming around to the idea of Arsenal winning the league. And this is a good thing. But does it feel like a loaded compliment almost? It's because City, there's a problem there. Cancelo's gone out. This is going to be the only chance Arsenal get to win a title. Remember at the end of last season, it was the only opportunity they were going to get into the top four. Where would they go after this? Such an interesting take where Arsenal improve and suddenly, yeah, but this will be it. If they don't win it this year, they're never going to win it. By the way, scan that QR code to follow us on our TikTok or click on the link in the description below.
Obviously still trying to find their feet under a new manager.
Yeah.
Liverpool have gone backwards. It's there for Arsenal to take. As Simon said right at the top of the programme, it's not eye-catching, their business, but it's strengthened the squad. They're in a better position than when they went into the transfer window.
And this, what I would say about Arsenal's window is this. I think, again, it's being underplayed. And I know Arsenal fans have not helped this situation by the initial reaction to Jorginho was poor. Oh my God, he's not Caicedo. He's not the same profile. He's nothing like Thomas Partey. How the hell is this going to work? But if you look at the Arsenal signings, you just look at them and take stock of the kind of players that they are. Yes, there's a young centre back we don't know too much about, but it's some extra backup. He's raved about in Poland. He's someone that's got, you read the scouting reports, he's a very, very good player. Then you've got Jorginho. Jorginho is an individual that has won the Euros with Italy. He's a Champions League winner. He's experienced. I think being 30, 31 is perfect. I think it's perfect. And as great as a signing as Caicedo would have been, and I'm not changing stance on this deal for Jorginho could be equally as good in the short term. In the short term, it can be equally as good. I think with runners, legs, and energy around him, you will see the very best of Jorginho. There is also this element of having the bit between your teeth. Chelsea clearly didn't want him anymore. Now, whether he wanted out himself or not is kind of irrelevant to me. It doesn't really matter. What I'm focusing on is the fact that this is an individual that could have just gone back to Italy, could have gone to multiple European clubs, could have gone to America, could go off to Saudi, earn loads of money, and kind of live out the rest of his career in relative peace. But he hasn't done that. He's gone to the Lions then, essentially. Chelsea fans, although he helped win them a Champions League, and he was so pivotal in that season, he nearly won a Ballon d'Or. Let's not get that twisted. He is now going to have Chelsea fans are going to dislike him if he's successful there. Of course, Spurs fans will hate him even more. He's gone from Chelsea to Arsenal. And of course, rivals are desperate for this to go wrong for Arsenal. The fact he's willing to take that on, 1.5-year contract, there's no retirement package. He ain't on some 5-year deal on 300 grand a week. I think it's very, very good business indeed. And then you look at Trossard. Trossard, in the short to medium term, will be a better signing for Arsenal than Mykhailo Mudryk. Mudryk is going to have some great moments at Chelsea. Mudryk is going to entertain us. But for a young player, I think he'll be up and down. He'll be inconsistent. Where I think Trossard, you were going to get 7 out of 10 performances every week. And then 1 in every 3 games, you're going to get that 8.5, that 9 out of 10 performance that we saw at Brighton. I'm not going to call him a steady Eddie because that's a disrespectful term. But this is a high caliber player who is experienced, that knows the league, that is accustomed and settled in the United Kingdom. He's also not young and going to be distracted. You've already got Mykhailo Mudryk in trouble for an old TikTok video that he made. I wouldn't be surprised, rightly or wrongly, you give me your opinions on this, if he ends up receiving a ban. So I think for Arsenal, this has been very astute, very clinical, and a very good January window. They've strengthened at the back, strengthened in midfield, and added some more firepower and creativity to their attack. And I agree with Alex Cook's first statement. It's Arsenal's league to throw away. They're 5 points clear with a game in hand against Everton, and they are the best team in the Premier League. There is no doubt about it. And as I've already said, Arsenal Football Club have got scarier.
Wait for it, 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 wait for it.
Repeatedly during the course of the window that I don't like this spend pattern. I don't think it's great. I think it's a race to the bottom. I've just listed the ramifications of this race to the bottom and the latest incarnation of it. I think it is actually awful. I know it's show business. I know that it's part and parcel of the entertainment model that is now football. But spending £500 million on 2 transfer windows in your first season, to me, is a race to the bottom. I understand what I've said about Bowley is that this is not just throwing stuff against the wall and seeing if you can find a way of problem.
I want to stop Simon here for a minute. Look, he's a self-made millionaire. He's owned a football club, and he speaks on this from a position of authority. But where I'm going to interject and say is that nobody's ever done what Todd Bowley and Chelsea are doing now. This has never been done before. You've seen clubs that can't afford to spend buy more and invest more than they should have done. Portsmouth, go research what happened there, is a prime example. Overspending, overpaying wages, and eventually they run out of cash. But this is Chelsea that are owned by multi-billionaires who are in the Premier League, where commercial revenues continue to grow and grow and grow. And of course, they're using, I wouldn't even call the amortization and long contracts as a loophole. It's smart business. I don't understand this concept as a race to the bottom. I don't understand this concept of what Chelsea are doing is bad for football. It's innovative. And I think you may see more clubs follow suit.
This isn't rebadging sponsorship deals and revaluing them to get yourself over financial fair play. This is somebody signing players, putting them on long contracts, and maybe, just maybe, he'll get a bite taken out of his smart arse in 3 years' time if they don't get the right valuations on these players, and these players don't perform, and all of a sudden they've got these enormous wages wrapped around and they can't.
That's the risk. That is the risk that Chelsea are taking, and that's the only risk in this. Is that this level of players they've purchased do not live up to expectation. If Enzo becomes a flop, if Mudryk doesn't perform, if Badiashile falls away, if Nkunku comes over and does a Timo Werner, that's the only way this goes wrong. And I think most Chelsea fans are very, very aware of that. But all Chelsea are really doing is they're buying players top heavy. And there's a way out of that as well, though. So if you do have a player that after 18 months, 2 years isn't really performing, you don't hold on to them for 3, 4, 5 years and then destroy their valuation. You sell them on soon. You may not get all of your money back, but you'll certainly get an element of it back as well. But there's a risk around every transfer that's ever been purchased. And how do we know this? If you look at the list of the biggest transfers that have ever been made in the history of football, you will find maybe 50, 60, 70% of those deals are flops. Man United have run out of money as it stands right now. The Glazers have completely emptied the well because of 4 failed projects on the bounce. But we didn't spend like this. We spent over £1 billion on players over a 10-year period, but we still ended up in the same situation that Chelsea could end up in if it goes wrong. So if any club invests 200 million a summer for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and if the projects don't work, they will also run out of money at some point. Unless, and there's a twist to this tale when it comes to Chelsea. Let's take a little bit more of a listen to Simon.
Get rid of it, but right now it's profligate, it's over the top, and it's no different from what Man City have done, but there's just a little bit more science behind what Bowley's doing than what people think he is.
And I get what he's saying there. Look, what City did was very different back in the day. What City, it's a very different kettle of fish. And this article here shows you as to why, or a snippet from an article. Miguel Delaney has said that Chelsea's owners see the spending as a 5 to 10 year project where this is all capital investment and value of the club will double. They are willing to go big for the next 2 years, so expect much more. And what's really intriguing when you read that is the Bowley Group are going to invest and raise sponsorship levels at Chelsea to a point where they can continue to spend like this for a couple of years. They're going to keep buying predominantly players that are 25 years old and younger. They're going to put them on the longest contracts possible. It will be 5 years because UEFA and FIFA are going to bring in new rules around that. And they're going to spread the cost over time. It's a different approach. And it's an approach where we can't say whether it's going to work or not because nobody's ever had the balls to do it. But what Chelsea have done is rebuild a squad inside one season. And clubs have always told us via their media outlets that this is impossible. We've always been told you can't sign players in January. I've always been under the belief that you can't really sign more than 5 or 6 players in one window. It will never work. And in the short term, That still may be true, but you have to look at this for what it is. It is a rebuild and a long-term project. If Chelsea continue to invest like this and they buy the right profile of player with the right attitudes and the right mentality, and they allow Graham Potter to build a footballing philosophy and system, this Chelsea team should scare you. And they should scare you because they have owners that want to build a long-term project similar to that of Ajax, Brighton, Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund, but with money. Imagine those clubs with Chelsea's money, never losing their top talent, having a style of football that continues beyond managers. The under-9s in the academy play the same football as the first team. This doesn't happen at Chelsea. Chelsea's academy play beautiful football. Sometimes they have managers in the first team that play a completely opposing style. How are you going to create progression that way? The model Chelsea have got has the makings to be sensational. And I'm, for one, I'm not writing them off. I can't write them off. I think it is crazy to do that. I think there's a lot of bitterness towards how they're doing things because Bowley's American. If Bowley was from a different part of the world, not American, if he was from any other nation, he'd be getting praised for his innovation. But there is a stigma in English football of the Americans. They don't understand our game. There's always a stigma attached to it. Always a stigma attached. And look, I could end up with egg on my face here in 4 or 5 years' time when Chelsea are in the pits because it's all gone wrong. But I just have a feeling they're going to get this right. I've just in the same way I had a feeling that Arsenal were on their way back to the top, I've got that same exact feeling with Chelsea. This feels dangerous, and it's why I'm scared of their progression. I'm not scared of them this season because they're mid-table, but what they do going forward is going to be potent. They've both had brilliant transfer windows. They've both got scarier. They're both now getting shots from the media. Have you noticed? Chelsea were being laughed at a few months ago. Now it's like, oh, they're terrible. They're a disgrace. Arsenal have been taking shots all year. There are similarities between the two things. Look, I want your views and I want your opinions. Leave your comments below. Scan that QR code and come follow us right now on TikTok. Daily content over there for you as well. That's different from what you'll see here on YouTube. So get yourselves across. Get over there and follow us. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Thank you.